This segment's being sponsored by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife.
Deer season's almost over for us here in Tennessee. We've got a few more weeks left of duck season, then we'll be chasing those longbeards. We'll spend a couple of months this summer fishing, and before you know it, deer season will be back again. You know, the older I get, the more it seems like our hunting seasons come and go a lot faster. And in life, our seasons do the same. We may have a good season. Some seasons aren't so good. When we go through those times, I remember a promise that God gave us through the prophet Jeremiah. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Even though those words were spoken thousands of years ago, we can still claim them as our own today because God's word is not bound by time. You may be going through a season of sowing. You may be through the season of harvest, or it may be your season of rest and reflection, checking and making sure everything is right and fixing those things that aren't. My challenge for you this week and for this coming year, make sure your plans are in the center of God's plans. On our greatest day with our greatest imagination, our plans will never compare to His. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us on Facebook at From the Blind Outdoors, and always remember, keep shooting straight.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I always look forward to our message from Pastor Tim and see what he's got to say. I had dinner with him the other night, and we had a real good time sitting and just talking and getting to know him a little bit better.
Right.
But look forward to lots of more things coming from Pastor Tim in the future. Guys, we're going to go and open up the phone lines. Y'all can call us here at 615-737-7767. But I got something special for you tonight. The fifth caller that calls is going to be our winner of the first set of 2 tickets to the boat show this weekend. So the fifth caller is going to get 1 set of tickets, and we've got a couple more we're going to be giving away as we go. So y'all go ahead and get those phone lines going. And while you do, we're just going to keep right on going over here talking about some fishing and kayaking and things like that. So, Joey, this time of year, if you were going to, let's say you were going out to your favorite, small water spot tomorrow, what would, if you could only carry one thing with you, what would you carry?
That'd be a jig.
A jig.
It's a year-round thing, and that's kind of an unfair answer for me to give because you can use a finesse jig, you can use a big jig, you can use a small trailer. I don't fish them no trailer, but there's a lot of different ways to fish them. But proven over the years, my records show that, and this isn't a brag, this is documented records. I've caught 1,500 bass over 5 pounds, and not all of them, but a bunch of them came on a jig.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I like that bite. I like that, that you feel either something real subtle, or I was guiding one day and the line was swimming this way, and I said, you probably want to set the hook. And he said, why? I said, we're fishing a river, the current's going that way, but your line's going that way.
When it's going against current, it's
we call that a clue in fishing. Yeah. So you want to set the hook.
Time to set the hook when it's going against the current. Yeah, that's not a rock here. That's going upstream.
That's right.
But, I agree. I actually like a soft plastic myself. I would probably take some kind of plastic worm or something if I could only carry one. I like following how you are. You're a color guy. You make subtle changes in color. I notice one of your blades is one of the things that you do. If you're throwing a bait, you paint that blade blue. Is that right?
I experiment with that because I want to be able to tell, not you guys, because you're, like I said, you're probably better fishermen than I am, but I said I experiment with that, and what I'll do is I'll take an identical bait and throw that 10 trips, and then I'll throw the blue blade. I've got some red blades I'm playing with. But yeah, no, I like to experiment with that. And the other thing is, if you're fishing a Percy Priest or a place that gets a lot of fishing pressure, if you show them something different, doesn't mean you're going to catch 15 more fish, but it may be the 2 or 3 you need.
You might catch the one, you're right. That one you say, that 5.
That 5, yeah, because I'm looking big all the time, and I can't explain to somebody if I don't try it myself, and I'm not asking somebody to, but I alter almost every bait.
Yeah.
I've got Strike King's a big sponsor. I got a lot of sponsors, but I alter almost every bait that I take out. And one of the things that I found over the course of the years is, this is a little tip for you, is that when your jig skirt gets all tore up, and people say, well, I got to change that jig out. I said, no, you don't. Take a replacement skirt and put it on there, and take a spinnerbait skirt. It's bulkier, so it gives them a different look, and it's a look they're not used to, and it saves you some time. If that bait, there's nothing wrong with the point of the hook, throw that out there and see what happens.
Yeah, a lot of times that's what it is. And it actually, I related a lot of times to turkey hunting, and what I mean by that is, with a turkey, you might call at him with a mouth call. He don't say nothing. You might call at him with a glass call. All of a sudden, you hit a box call, and that particular turkey's on fire. He's ready to come to you. Well, the fish I've seen a lot of times are the same way. You might, hit down through there 2 or 3 days, might be on the front of the boat and hit him 3 or 4 times with a spinnerbait. He don't look at it, and you come behind him with a jig, and all of a sudden it's on.
Well, let me tell you something. The parallels are great because sometimes subtle, because I'm not a great turkey hunter, but I tell people, I said, you don't have to go out and keep going. I said, they hear it.
That's right.
Don't, if you call too loud and too much, and when you're fishing for bass, somebody said, well, that water's dirty. Why would you throw that crawfish pattern? I said, I want it to be subtle. I don't want it to be like in your face kind of a thing. In really dirty water, they've sensed that motion through there. I said, you'll catch a bunch of fish just doing something that's more subtle.
That's right. I mean, they live on those crawfish. I mean, they eat live, real ones every day.
All the time.
It's not that they're not going to find your bait. It don't have to be bright orange or something for them to see it.
Well, and the other, a big point for me is explaining to people, they're in survival mode, we're in recreational mode. You don't have to, they know what they're doing. You just got to figure out, I call it cracking the code. Once you crack the code for catching big fish, again, I'm not the guy, when people say, you ever had one of those days when you caught 100 fish? I said, I've had them, but I know a lot more people that have more of them than I have. But ask me about the day that I caught caught 8 fish that would have gone 40 pounds. I said, ask me about that day. I said, I figured out what they were doing. And as you said before, in the course of the day, the wind changes directions, you get cloud cover, it changes. If you're really good, you make a change with it.
Yeah.
I like scents a lot. You use scent much, Joey?
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all, because here's my point. If you're talking about catfish, I get it. And I'm not trying to say what you're doing is wrong, but my point is this. When that fish picks up the bait, where's he got it? In his mouth.
Right.
He didn't pick it up because of what it smelled like.
Right.
And sometimes he's got it. And sometimes I think they'll hold on to things longer, but it's kind of like the old Uncle Josh pork, they were in salt brine. You could walk them. You could take them and just kind of run them around for a little bit unless they sense something, because they're chewing on
and
that.
They were doing that in the tank today. Did you notice that today at the tank? They would run up and get it, and they would just hang on to it.
Yeah.
And just kind of follow it almost.
If you come down to the boat show, I'm going to catch a fish tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be down there.
And I told people, they said, can you catch one? I said, piece of cake, nothing to it. I had them chasing it around. I said, yeah, and it's one of the rules that I won't tell you what it is here, but I'll tell you tomorrow that one of the rules that I use when fishing gets tough. And I will tell you tomorrow during a seminar, I got 2 baits that are magic for me, that if I could only leave with 2 baits or fish with 2 baits the rest of my life, I'll tell you what those are tomorrow at the boat show.
Well, you guys heard it, so get down there to the boat show so you can find out what that is. You've gotten to fish a lot of different places. You've got it in county, you've got it different places. Do you have a favorite place that you have fished, whether it be in Tennessee or somewhere else or out of the country or where?
All-time favorite. I can tell you that I fished in Mexico and caught 99 bass in 3 hours, and my triceps got so sore I said, I got to quit fishing.
Yeah, enough of that.
It was crazy. But Canada, guiding up in the Quetico, which is it's 3 million square acres with 1 million square acres of water, and some of the places don't even have names. And when you go in there, and when I tell you that if you go back in there, if you're just an okay fisherman, you can rest assured you're going to catch 5 or 6 smallmouth that weigh literally 5 pounds, and they'll hit the spinnerbait so hard that the blades come flying out. I mean, they'll knock the blades off of a spinnerbait, and then forget the topwater bait.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted the trip of a lifetime, if you knew you could only fish one more time. If that's somebody said, I said, I want to go to Canada, I want to throw, I'll take like a Strike King, a Spitting King, and you can clip off 2 of those treble hook, the 2 of the hooks on the treble, just leave 1 hook on either. You can catch them till you're tired, or take my buzz bait and throw that around points. It ought to be illegal. I mean, it's so fun. You couldn't make a video game that's better than fishing that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got a friend that's gone up there, and they fished several lakes, and they were on a lot of places that don't even allow motors.
Right.
I mean, they did a hike-in trip with canoes and went to about 7 or 8 different lakes while they were down there, and there was no motors allowed, and you walked into where you went. But he said that just the fishing was almost unreal, that you wouldn't even believe it if you didn't see it.
Well, and the thing is about that is, like, we get so used to, there's a lot of competition here, not between the fish, but the fishermen too. When you go to a place like that, and I fished the freshwater lakes in Hawaii, for a tournament one time. But in Canada, there's fish up there literally that have never seen a bait. I mean, it almost sounds like, you know, the Disney World of fishing,
Yeah.
Right.
and it really is. It's a different. Again, it's probably not for everybody, because when I was guiding up there, first thing I told people, there's bears.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a bear come into camp, but I said, you know, you have to take precautions, and we're sleeping out in really comfortable quarters. But I said, we're sleeping out, and it's all canoes, and I said, don't stand up in the canoe, because you won't be standing up for long. It's not when. It's not when. It's not if you're going in. It's just when you're going in.
Right.
But it was really a magical place, and again, I went up there with the idea of going one time and went back 26 more.
Yeah.
Wonderful place.
Yeah.
It sounds like what Dayton would do. That's
That's
kind
what I'm
of he
saying.
does
I'm
that
just
about every
paddle my
week.
way up there.
Hey,
Yeah.
if it never got cold, no joke. I love Tennessee, but if it never got cold, I'd probably be up there 6 months out of the year.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it does get really cold. When's the fishing best there?
I would go up in August, because that's their fall. And if you could go up on August and a full moon, and again, when I was guiding, or if I'm doing TV or whatever, I try to pick the best possible situation. So I wrote an article once called The Perfect Day. But if you're waiting for the perfect day to go fishing, you've got a long wait. So go when you can, but if you can wrap it around a major moon phase, the full or the new, and if you can do that when the water temperature is I'd say between 60 and 75, you can still catch them less and more, but that's a good setup. And if you got a little southerly breeze, just a little dimple of a breeze on there, I go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, are there any lakes that you do like to fish? I mean, any of the bigger water that you ever fish, or you just
My favorite place
river?
is the next place I'm going.
Wherever it is.
Yeah, and I always feel like, and I always feel like I never make a cast that I don't believe I'm not going to catch a fish. Now, of course, that doesn't always happen, but I fished Dale Hollow. I fished Center Hill with a friend of mine that I went to church with, and he said, we just can't catch any fish up here. He said, could you go up there and show? I said, sure. Went up there and looked at Center Hill and went around, saw the little buck bushes and all that, and everybody wants to flip up in the buck bushes. And I took out a big buzzbait, and he said, you ain't going to catch anything on that. And I said, stand back and watch. The first
Watch
fish
this happen.
First fish I couldn't catch weighed about 4.5 pounds. He said, if I wouldn't have seen that, I would have never believed it. I said, again, you've got to get away from the conventional. I know most people would say throw a finesse worm, and that would work, or throw a curly tail grub. That would work. But I said, if you're looking for a big fish, I'm your guy.
Oh, mate. Well, guys, I tell you what. I told y'all we're going to be giving away tickets as we go. They have told me it is time. We're going to give away our second set of tickets. So again, you want to be the fifth caller, 615-737-7767, and we'll get you a pair of tickets so you can come down there this weekend. You can come see Joey doing his seminars, or if you get down there tomorrow night, you'll be able to catch Dayton and I in there running around. So stop in and say hello to us. But again, 737-7767, and we've got another pair we're going to be giving away here in a little while, and then we've got a book for you guys here in a little while. So stay tuned with us. Guys, we're going to go over and do this week's tip of the week. I think. Your tip of the week is, wait on your producer to have your tip of the week motto ready before you go to it. Here we go. This week's tip of the week is being sponsored by our friends over at Phoenix Custom Quality Rods. You guys can reach out to Mr. Jim Brewer right here locally at 931-213-1455, and he wants to remind you guys that he's going to be at the Lebanon show with us at the end of January. He's going to be there, and he's also going to be at the East Tennessee Fishing Show, and he's going to have all of his products that are going to be from JLB Woodworking and Phoenix Rods as well. So we appreciate everything they do for us here, and go ahead and give them a call and get your own this spring before fishing season gets going. All right, guys, we've been doing a lot of tips tonight. One of you guys have just a particular tip you'd like to share right now?
Joey does,
what
but I'm
do you
going to
got?
tell you what my tip is you've got to follow somebody like Joey if you want to get knowledge on fishing. You have to look to people that fish like he does to teach you lessons and baits and stuff to do. That's what you have to do to get to be a better.
Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to ask.
I mean, it takes people like Joey doing books to help everybody to get it done.
That's right. That's right.
I'll tell you a little something that long ago the Air Force put a fishing line and a couple of baits in a survival kit. So that's enough for me right there. And it was a curly tail grub. And I always believe you could take a curly tail grub, and I'm sure you can tell me the same thing. I've caught catfish, walleye, smallmouth, largemouth. And with a curly tail grub, the tip is make sure you have enough lead head, that it weighs enough, and rig the tail opposite the hook so it doesn't act as a keel, and you can throw that out and just swim it back. So to get the maximum amount of action, if you go out with a 1/16 ounce head, probably not going to get the action you need. So it depends on things. And then go down to like 4-pound test line. You're going to break some fish off, but boy, you're going to hook a whole bunch more fish. So curly tail grub, I think pearl is probably, if for me, one of the best colors, and chartreuse and then smoke glitter. Those three, if I've got those, I'm good. And then rig that opposite the hook and then swim that back. And sometimes the bite will be subtle, and sometimes they'll rip the rod right out of your hand.
I love hooking it that way, sauger fishing.
Yep.
I hook them grubs that way every time I sauger fish.
All right.
I never hook them normal.
Guys, we're going to take another quick break. Before I go, let's go ahead one more time. Set of tickets number 3. Be the 5th caller at 615-737-7767. We're going to get you guys a set of tickets to come down there this weekend. So we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll keep the phone lines open and have some more Southern Woods and Waters.
I mean, stuff.